All right, so welcome. Good evening to Life Saga community, and we are here to do another analysis into many aspects in Kenya, guys. Welcome. It is Prissy for you on Life Saga TV. Of course, during the day I've had to do some other stuff here and there, and I welcome you to the platform. So let's start this analysis. And just in case you have any interesting story, you're free to share it out, and we will be doing an analysis of that. So thank you so much. Having watched the Trump's big speech yesterday, aired at least a day before, we go look into the Kenyan situation and see the worst of it, all right? And sometimes we talk about it, people will be like, don't talk about it because it's a headache, but it's our headache, guys. So welcome once more, and let's get to it. So I'm giving you time to come to the live stream. You know, live stream is different from a video. When I'll be starting videos, I'll not be giving time to actually wait and all that. But currently, I do that just to allow people to come on before we start our stuff. All right, so welcome to the house. I really appreciate guys for liking my videos, sharing, and just subscribing to the channel too. I've seen a lot of improvement. Every day we are having new members, and I thank God for that. I really appreciate the presence of people here and having accepted the content. And I know that in one way or the other, it is assisting in sharing some aspect that maybe some people don't get to it, or an analysis into matters around us. So guys, today if you've been online, you've watched some sagas here and there. I don't know whether you've seen all of them, but it's quite surprising and sometimes sickening to hear about the ghost hospital. Guys, there is a problem with network today. I don't know, for whatever reason, I'm getting a problem with it. From the first video I did on edutainment for us to this one, actually there is a problem, but we will have to go on. Nothing will stop us. We have to go on regardless of the challenges here and there. So guys, today if you've been on the media, what you've got clearly is the SHA saga. Guys, slowly we're getting to see the corruption saga and the network that is actually growing up. When they rated Kenya as the first among the top nations that are corrupt, people doubted it and they thought it was exaggerated. But the reality is hitting us hard every day as we wake up and meet new headlines. So today's headlines have actually come up with an unearthing of a shocking briefcase ghost hospital. All right? The hospital is owned by the SHA CEO, and he has had to receive 60 million Kenyan shillings. Can you imagine this? No wonder most people are suffering. They don't have money because few people are looting and keeping in their pockets. If one person is allowed to loot 60 million Kenyan shillings in a year, another one 150 million Kenyan shillings in a year, what will happen to the rest of the citizens? Automatically they'll not have the money. There'll be no money for school fee. That is what they call the free subsidized education. There'll be no money for, I don't know, road construction. There'll be no money for this and that. And therefore the story about the construction of roads, the construction of many markets, the construction of what we have been told every day becomes a narrative, a monkey story, neither there nor there, something as a cover-up. All right? So the reality as to why people are so annoyed when Malala came up with echoes of doom, it's quite surprising. Donika Baleva, welcome on the channel. Like the video. Like the video, and let's stay focused on the topic so that we don't divert our attention. So thank you for being the top fan. So let's get down to the story of the SHA aspect. And now I understand why some people are insisting that two-term must be there. And of course, Raphael Tuju came out today to clear the airs and explain why he walked out of Jubilee. And when you listen to him, he's actually telling us that Kenya might be a failed state if we are not careful. Do we believe it? We might not believe it, but that's the reality. You look at what is happening on the ground. If eCitizen Saga came out, people have been talking about Anglo-leasing, it was there, Goldenberg was there, but now how many sagas have come out within this government? Adani Saga came out. We have had eCitizen Saga. We now have the SHA Saga. And these are the things they were forcing on us. Even when some individuals tried to reject, they had to pass them in parliament. Sadly, MPs who are now complaining and pointing fingers at the president, they were the same people who were given money so as to pass this. Because today there were leaks of WhatsApp messages. And of course it comes from the same MPs. They have only had to talk because they were attacked. If they were not, they would have kept quiet because it's neither there nor there. So for them, it's not about representing us, they represent themselves. And the best thing is that God himself, as Sifuna said, I don't know whether it's part of the team, Sifuna said that God will have to strike them before they strike him. If that is true, let's wait and see. So let's just watch this story about the SHA, the ghost hospital.
It's an extortion scheme. It's supposed to get money out of Kenyans and transfer that money out of the Kenyan. The SHA is not that the SHA chief is not working. It's an extortion scheme. It's supposed to get money out of Kenyans and transfer that money out of the Kenyan economy. Imagine paying for healthcare.
Now, guys, we are always forced to pay for healthcare, guys. There was something known as medical allowance. It was plucked out of the pay slips, unfortunately. So you don't have money when you are sick, but at the same time, when you go to hospitals, you are not treated. So someone is actually softly stealing from Kenyans. And this is something we complain about from long before, especially after the we saw that bill of 2024. We began to realize that we are being hit hard. Purity Wanjiru, welcome. Hi. Welcome to the house. And we are into this analysis. Like the video. I welcome Dolinka Baleva. Okay. Hi. Peter, Purity Wanjiru. We have Donika Baleva. Like the video for me, please. All right. So you actually got clarity from Omukia Mutata. Now, what I don't like about the candidates who are standing out to want the candidate of the president is like, there are so many that currently they have not even formed a ground. 2027 is not so far. Okia Mutata coming out, Maraga coming out, Matiang coming out, who else? Martha Karua coming out, Gachagua coming out, Kalonzo Musyoka coming out. So, who is who? I would rather they have an alliance as early as this and strongly go to the ground and fight for a better government. But then, again, we have to ask ourselves, of course, Purity Wanjiru, I am. I always start my videos by introducing myself as a Kenyan, Prissy, a Kenyan. And then after that, I start my analysis. So I'm a Kenyan, that though I do an analysis from different parts of the world. So subscribe to the channel Purity Wanjiru if you are new here. Like the video, share the videos also, and go through the rest of the videos so that we grow the channel into something that is substantial to actually analyze political aspects all time. And if you have anything, maybe information that is worth, sagas especially, you are free to share them here. And we'll be talking about them because analysis is one of the important tools that serves in the country to inform and correct. All right, so Purity Wanjiru is also a Kenyan. Karibu sana Mkenya mwenzangu. Asante kuja kwa platform hii. I really appreciate and I'm happy to have Kenyans also supporting me here amongst other people from other nations. All right, so Raphael Tuju has finally come out and spoken about walking away from the government. Now, let's see. People have been talking about SHA and supporting it strongly. But those of us who are paid by producing money, then you go to hospital, you are sick, you are treated, and you realize that you're just being treated as a formality. Okay? Wewe unachomoa tu chaja yangu, you're not even respectful to put it where it's supposed to be. What is it? Okay, Purity has already walked away. Please, I would urge also that people stay for some time, because actually having that growth of content, we need to watch for some time, at least 20 minutes. But it's okay. Sometimes maybe people are busy, engaged elsewhere, or the matter of bundles, I do not know. But if we stay longer, the better. But it's okay. Sometimes maybe people are busy. So thank you so much for coming here. Like the video before you go, Purity. Just do a thumbs up or like the video, and I really appreciate. So guys, looking at these clips, people being emphasized, we saw people like Salasia challenging SHA, and you remember that time he was backed down and told you're just a young MP, you know. Natembea has also been against SHA all the time, and there's a time when Wetangula came to Bungoma during the funeral of the father. He was on the forefront to say that Natembea is actually misleading the citizens. Okay? In Mumias, we saw Ruto himself backing down Salasia and reminding him that he should not mislead the people. Let him leave the people to make a decision. But sometimes these leaders see ahead. They have heard about what has happened. They are in the parliament, and if they were being forced to actually vote for this, and some of them were even bribed, it is clear that that SHA business was a trash in the first place, just like the that House Building Act, yeah, was also a sham. And people disagreed about it, but it was forced on us. But shame on the MPs, because they are now coming out and trying to say they were bribed. So what? What will you do? You have already passed these acts. You've already made them to go, ahead. You've made us to lose money on our pay slips. Every month we are now in debt because we can't pay what we used to pay. Our loans, some of them are on negatives. And you are now coming out and tell us that there was corruption, leaking, like those leakage messages from WhatsApp. It's so annoying, sickening. It is so sickening for a Kenyan to actually realize that all these were flaws that were made by MPs. They should be ashamed, because how can they even raise their heads and talk about it when they did it? They messed us up. How are they going to correct this? And now it has become a battleground whereby they are fighting like two, bulls which are fighting, and the grass has to suffer. Okay? When you listen to Babu, you listen to Raphael Tuju, you realize that the ground is Kenyans. So Kenyans are supposed to be pressed and suffer while the leaders do what they have to do. Dexter Peter, thank you so much for coming by. Welcome to the platform, and you can like the video. Thank you for the 2 likes. I've seen them, and let's proceed into this. So I was looking at Edan Duale. The other day I was talking about Edan Duale, and somebody came here and was telling us, I can't even use the words the person used, Somebody directly abused me on the platform when I was talking about Edan Duale. And Edan Duale is one of the person who has been on the forefront to support the SHA business. Is he a beneficiary? Of course we may say so, because the SHA CEO comes from this place, okay? And he has allegedly received 52 million with a ghost hospital, because when you check the hospital itself that is shown, it is a sham. It is an entire sham. Let's look at this. I want us to play it silently in the first place. Find that the clinic. Let's start with Ladnan Hospital in Wajir and Pangani. So Ladnan Hospital Ladnan Hospital is killing the headlines, and that is one of the hospitals in Wajir and also in Pangani, guys. That hospital has actually had to receive almost 53 million Kenyan shillings. Nelson Philip Peter, Dexter Peter, big up to you. Nelson Philip Peter, like the video. I really appreciate your presence here. Your support is always highly esteemed. Thank you so much for your presence, and I really love the fact that a lot of people watch and they support me to grow. Thank you so much. Okay, may God bless you. Like the video as we go into this analysis. Now, somebody once said, and it was my teacher who once said that it was good as we hoped, but now we have nothing left, you know. In Betray in the City, if you read that book by Imbuga, so it was good as we waited, now we have nothing to wait anymore. Okay. Oh, so Nelson Philip Peter, and because I was almost asking, why is it Peter? All right. Thank you for your love. Thank you. Nelson Philip Peter, then Dexter Peter. May I know your country? Because Peter is if Peter is a name to suggest your brothers, you must be maybe from USA or something, because in Kenya we don't use a surname which is a biblical one. Oh, Nigeria. Oh, brothers from Nigeria. Thank you so much from West Africa. Thank you for your love from West Africa, Nigeria. I really love your stuff in terms of videos. You people are good in music, you are good in Afro cinema, continues shortly, and you have had very good pastors of late. There are two pastors I really watch and I love them a lot. You know, Patience Ozuo, the actor, and so many actors from Nigeria, I really love them. The land of Nollywood, you know. A lot of drama that is very hot, and even comedy, you are so good at that, the Nigerian brothers, and also music. I think you do a lot of good stuff. All right, so Kenya is turning out to be a sad nation, humiliating, a nation that maybe we may not be trusted if we are not careful, because if our leaders are stealing like this, stealing in the name of the Lord, all along they're stealing, okay? And some of them go before the church and they say they have just taken their money, like Oscar Sudi the other day gave a lot of money in empowerment program, and when people asked, he was like, did I steal anybody's money? You know, the way they steal, they don't tell us. James Ade, I'm not from Nigeria, I'm from Kenya. All right, I'm from Africa, but not Nigeria. But I watch a lot of Nigeria stuff. I do that even on my other channel, Edutainment for Us. If you go check on it, you'll see. You go see the drama. I go collect a lot of drama from Nigeria and do that on Edutainment for Us. Anyway, here we are, James Ade. Thank you so much. Nelson, like the video. Dexter Peter, like the video. James Ade, like the video for me. I really appreciate your support from Nigeria, and a lot of love from you people. Okay, so guys, looking at Kenya, it becomes a sad situation, because in the long run, we will have Kenyans rated as the most corrupt. Can you imagine that Ladnan hospital that we are seeing ahead of us in this video? That hospital here, yeah, it received 52 million Kenyan shillings. 52 million Kenyan shillings. Thank you for the likes. Yeah. And this is incapacitating, negatively impacting on Kenya, because such a hospital, you don't expect it serving the Kenyans as it should, but they received all that money. Whereas we have good facilities that are not paid immediately the patients come out. All right? Hey, This is quite funny.
To Metro Group PLC,
you know,
new leadership since 2020. Have you ever
oh my God, the commercial break here
really affecting us? We are conducting an important study to understand just upgraded. And the confusion stems from naming a glitch with an abandoned dispensary nearby. Still, the public's anger.
Yeah, the other hospital that has been mentioned in this saga is this one here. Let's just check on it. Nyadiwa Health Center.
And the confusion stems from naming a glitch with an abandoned dispensary nearby. Still, the public's anger speaks to a deeper failure. Trust has been...
All right. So this is one of the hospitals that has been abandoned for a long time, but it's among those who are actually receiving money. James Ade saying, I do see Kenya protest. How is going through over there with you? Is it that the government didn't see the killing of the police, and is that not police killing? All right. Even if they see, they don't want to talk about it. Because at some point you saw our CS there. You saw our CS saying that the shooting should continue. Later on, the president realized that citizens had an anger, and he came out to say that instead of killing them, let them shoot in the legs. And if you watched Kenya, you saw people talking about risasi ya mguu, and we had a lot of memes coming out, because generally the aspect of abductions and the shooting has been something that is actually foreseen, or rather overseen by the government. You know, if you look at the CS of Interior, he has been talking about it and supporting it in saying that they are goons, that they are criminals, but they know what they are doing because they want to silence the people so that they don't talk about these things, all right, to instill that fear. But now God has decided that it will not continue to be silence and, you know, business as usual. And you can see now the wrath, the fight between the president and the MPs and senators. All that has started just a war that God decided he has to reveal them. Because for how long can someone hide in church at the same time they are practicing the wrong? You saw our president saying that he has around 1.5 billion shillings that he decided to build a church in the State House. And when people questioned, he said that is his money. One of the people, the leaders in Uasin Gishu, Oscar Sudi, also went with empowerment money, about 1.15 million. And when people asked, he said it is his money. Now, currently, Kimani Ichungwa, the leader of majority, has been out there with indicating that he has borrowed 150 million from the resources within parliament. But the reality is that he has been questioned for having been engaged in corruption. Now, let's see the leaked messages. Of course, we have leaked messages, but before that, let me finish the ghost hospitals that have been mentioned.
Resources. These suspensions are effective immediately. Any healthcare provider whose information is used to defraud SHA shall be held personally liable, as is the case for the 8 doctors and the 4 clinicians. For example, submitted falsified medical records in support of a claims for a patient.
Now you realize that our leaders, this is Adan Duale, he was in charge of health. Now he has to read, he cannot just say some things from his mind, okay? Now Okia Mtata came out and revealed what was happening, you know?
To commit the government to buy software at a cost of 104 billion, over more than 100 billion. But the facts speak a different story. They have done that, so they know very well what they have done, but because they have been exposed, they are trying to play with our minds. We cannot continue using a system that is clearly a process of crime. It appears that the only people for whom SHA is working are the ones who are getting these commissions, the 2.5% from my monthly contribution. You have told us that they have to be paid on a daily basis. And yet the facilities themselves do not get similar treatment when they ask for reimbursement for their claims, Madam Goeji. So can we, with finality, say something? Can we take drastic action? Because some of us do not mind being a bit rash if we are going to do something that is in the best interest of the country. Can we agree before this committee that we want to terminate that contract? And what are we going to do? Because that continue to allow people...
Guys, you look at that. Sifuna came out to analyze. Okia Mtata also came out to analyze, and they revealed something about hidden information under SHA. But the government never listened. They still continue to make us pay money, and yet the services are not standard. Anybody. In fact, if you go to some hospitals, you will not be treated. Last week, I was in a certain facility, and I saw a lot of people not being treated out of SHA. But then when you talk about it, they'll say it is serving. All right? Okay, let's continue with some other analysis to tell us the state of affairs in Kenya. I'm just listening to Onyonga because Onyonga actually brings vibes to indicate why even, for example, Ruto has to be impeached. He has been talking about this, but nothing has happened. Let's listen to him.
Leadership into accountability for us to stand up and start fighting for those things that matter to Kenyans. And the best he can tell me is that I have no business whatsoever asking the governor why he's stealing billions of shillings from one single transaction. That I don't have a capacity. In other words, I am actually in that house basically collecting payroll from Kenyan taxes. It is incredible. Number two, I completely sympathize with my brother Ososi. There are certain things he can't say. Ososi, my brother, we are in a mess. The house where we sit is a complete mess. But that house is not the way it is because legislators planned and coordinated that they are going to make that house into a mess. It is this top leadership. Mzee Raila, I said I respect him. Honorable William Ruto. These are children of this system. How did we start breaking out our system? How do we lose money through a government system which nobody procured? And now I'm being told we lost, what, 59 billion? How do I sit around and watch when today I've received information how the money that SHA is supposed to pay, their health facilities don't exist. Pictures are there, but the money has been cashed out. These are the issues that we need to discuss, but we can't. So what you do, this is how I interpret it, you take this group of people and demonize them. First, say they're the most corrupt. Dibal, didn't I start talking about corruption at the National Assembly some 3 years ago? We were saying, look, we are going in the wrong direction. The Constitution was not structured in such a manner.
All right, so do we blame the Constitution? Do we continue blaming the institution? Do we have a solution? Okay, do we get a solution or do we continue to blame the Constitution? That's my question. All right, so let's move to another aspect that I actually observed, and this one I'll talk about it without showing. So I listened to Raphael Tuju. Raphael Tuju has been in the government and he decided to walk away, and he had to come to an interview and indicate that he walked away because he realized that Kenya is on the knees. Now, this is the kind of leaders we have. They run away when it's the worst time. But the time they are supposed to defend and actually shout out, they do not. I've not heard Raphael Tuju speaking before. I've only heard him speak now when things are on the worst. And that is the mistake we have in the country. We have leaders who are not able to speak when things are tough. The only person I heard speaking all the time was Onyonka. Onyonka was always speaking. But some people have already gone there and their mouth has been stuffed. We look at the example of the former governor of Mombasa. He's now praising the government. Mbadi, praising the government. The former governor of Kakamega, praising the government. You look at that and you wonder, where are we headed to? Now, meanwhile, let's look at this. Just for comic break. You know, Kimani Ichung'wah is one of the person who really celebrated when his brother or cousin was being impeached from the parliament. Now, Kimani Ichung'wah has become one to be humiliated and almost being ousted out of leadership. He may not continue to be the leader of majority, you know. Why? It's because when they were pointing out corruption, it came out clearly that he was one of the victims, all right? He even came out in parliament to defend himself and talk about the source of his 150 million. One person, 150 million. Just like that. And you invest in shares. While other Kenyans cannot even afford to buy even 10 shares, you are able to buy shares worth 150 million. Tell me that difference. If that gap is maintained, how soon will we be together? How? All right. Now, I'm looking at Kimani Ichung'wa of late. Of course, you remember yesterday, and that one day he had to call him Kinyangarike. Kinyangarike is like a worthless, useless being. Something like trash. Okay? So one day he came out to say that. Let me just check whether I'll get that receipt somewhere. Yeah, here it is. Commercial breaks now.
Stop taking meeting notes and let ClickUp AI Note Taker do it for you. It allows you to focus on your meetings, not your...
Wewe nani amekupatia nguvu ya kuweka na kutoa rais? Wewe ni nani? Vinyangarika wakome hiyo tabia, si ndio?
Actually, it's so saddening that Kimani Ichung'wa was laughing at the impeachment process. He was so happy. The moment Mutuse actually stood up to propose, he was so happy. If you check back to the clips, you will see what happened. I've checked and I've seen he was smiling. Now, there is this habit of our leaders going everywhere, and they want to look like the people there. You've seen Raila Odinga when he goes to the zone for Muslims, he puts on the crown as a Muslim. When our president goes among the Norangwa, he has to put on the crown, the stripped crown. When he goes on to the Roma, he dresses up like the Roma person. When he goes on to India, he's like Namaste. He comes around the Luyas, he's like Murimoyo. When he goes among the Kikuyu, he's like Morega, okay? So he was here among the Maasai and he was jumping up. Jumping up. Can you imagine that? Yeah, now why do these leaders do this? Why do these leaders do this? Do you know if someone comes among you and they are dressed like you, it is easy enough to trust them? It is a mindset, a psychological game the leaders play to us to come where we are and speak our language, even one line or two, and also dress like us, and even show to understand the culture. Okay, Pridap the lane, we are okay. We Kenyans tunakupenda mama, uhali gani, ni hali njema? Okay. Velan. Hey, munanifurahisha. Munanifurahisha sana wa Kenya. Velan, munanifurahisha. Hey, the proposals here. The proposals here are just too much, okay? All right. So, anyway, let me go on with analysis because many people are watching me here and they want to get to what I'm trying to say, okay? But you just make me laugh sometimes, all right? So Ichung'wa decided actually to be like the president, and when he went among the, the Somali people, he decided to actually cover himself the same way the Somali people do. But then he did not actually have I am just imagining the situation whereby he did not have a pair of trousers. What would have happened? Okay. Because let's see this. To just crack the jokes like Predap Velan has come here with some jokes. Okay.
Masomo kidogo. Alikuwa mimi masomo yangu ni kidogo, masomo kidogo, akili kidogo hiyo yake. Si ndio?
Look at that.
Akili, si ndio?
Look at that. Kimani Ichungwa's lesser had to calm down.
Masomo yangu ni kidogo, masomo kidogo, akili kidogo hiyo yake. Si ndio? Akili, si ndio?
Hey, let me replay for the third time.
Masomo kidogo. Alikuwa mimi masomo yangu ni kidogo, masomo kidogo, akili kidogo hiyo yake. Si ndio? Akili, si ndio? Haya, nguo ya Kisomali.
So I'm just imagining if Kimani Ichungwa did not have a pair of trousers, what would have happened? Because the Somalis actually tie that without the pair of trousers. What would have happened? The humiliation, you know? And he has been called Kinyangarike by Wandai. And he has been targeted, the EACC knocking on his doors, okay? Let's watch for the last time and finish that part before we go on to the next receipt.
Haya, nguo ya Kisomali. Huyu jamaa alinivalisha hii nguo. Nafikiri alikuwa na mpango ingine. Lakini yuko kijana amefanya bidii hapa. Si huyu kijana ni kijana wa bidii. Anafunga vizuri.
So he had to actually to avoid that embarrassment and give that young man 10,000 Kenyan shillings, guys. Just like that, you know. These people earn money so easily. From whichever corridors they get that money, and they find it so easy to spend. When some of us, we struggle to even get 1,000 shillings. But for him, he can easily now throw away 10,000 shillings because someone has eliminated his embarrassment before a whole crowd. You know, if I was just imagining, and I've asked many times for you to drop a comment in the comment section, in case he did not have a pair of trousers, what would have happened? Because the shuka came down, falling in the crowd, and he was humiliated picking it up because what he wanted to do is to look like part of the male in this place. But I can see some of the people in the crowd are just comfortable with a pair of trousers. I wonder why he had to have that. Okay?
Hawa ndio mahasla hapa. Unafanya? Ananiambia ni university student, pewa 10,000 pale.
I think this is what happens when we embrace every other culture, including those.
Okay, so the shenanigans about other people's culture. Sometimes it's too difficult. I always like being myself. There is a day I was in Garissa and I insisted on just putting on my pair of trousers, because if that is what I'm used to, why should you force me to put on the kaniki, for example? I've been in Mombasa and I've just dressed up in my pair of trousers, you know? Because if that is what I'm used to, why should I, dare to put on like another person? Unless otherwise, it is so difficult for me to actually, get to assimilate myself with a culture that I'm not so sure about. In fact, one of the worst things I learned is also trying to take a meal that you have never done in a new place. You'll be embarrassed. Your stomach will be loose and you'll be very uncomfortable. Or you might even go puke the food that you're eating. There is a day we actually visited Nyanza Deep there, and they eat boiled fresh fish. That was one of the worst experiences I encountered. If you dare taste boiled fresh fish, you won't like it if you are not used to it. But for them, they enjoy and they say it's good, guys. Before I go on, I can see my bundles actually flying. Let me refill before I proceed. Or maybe just continue until it gives me the head-on to proceed, because at some point it was delaying and time was running, okay? Now, there is this wakili or the judge who has been dragged, and he was possibly dragged at archives by goons sent possibly, Let's look at him.
took some energy drink, and I was also given some pills. So I started feeling well, and that is when I decided now, okay, I still need to leave. I cannot stay here longer for more than 2 hours. After 1 hour, I decided now to go back to the matatu. So that conductor was so nice. Even after seeing me, he decided, okay, you'll not sit at the back. Maybe these guys are still following you. He decided to put me at the front seat with the driver. Akanikalisha hapo kwa dere, ndo tukakaa huko kwa dere. But even after we started now leaving, I still felt so dizzy. I still felt so sleepy. I remember I slept from Roysambu all the way to Juja. I still could not feel myself. Like there was that feeling of tiredness so much. So I went home. I ate and everything, and I decided to share this with my contacts, especially on my WhatsApp status. I told them the story of how I've been dragged. And surprisingly,
Yeah, so guys, the reality is that dragging at Super Metro is a common aspect in Nairobi, and that's why I'm telling you that security in the country is something wanting, all right? And people want to make gigs so easily, so they'll do anything for life. Because we don't actually accept that because the state of affairs is bad, people should do this, but it is coming out of what is happening in the country, all right?
Na asubuhi ya leo gazeti la The Standard linasema use and dump. Ukisikia maoni ama vilio vya wabunge kama hivi kusema kwamba jamani, tumefanya yote hapo umetaka, na sasa hivi tunaachwa matani. Tumekuwa tukipiga kelele kwa muda mrefu kwamba bunge linatumika vibaya. Right. Unajua bunge ni mahali ambapo Wakenya wamedelegate their responsibilities. Wao ndo wawakilishi wa watu. Ndio. So wanafaa kuwa wanawakilisha Wakenya. Ndio. Si kupitisha miswada ambazo rais amesema. Ndio. Hadi aweke yeye ndani. Lakini kuja kutulalamikia sisi wananchi wa kawaida. Ni kana kwamba he's a victim.
So in that discussion, you can see actually whoever is speaking is saying that it has been long with citizens actually talking about this aspect of the parliament being misused, being abused, you know, a parliament being used to pass laws that are not worth. And of course, today's newspaper Standard clearly said that use and dump. And it indicated how the parliament has been used to pass laws such as SHA, such as House, Development Act, and so many others that were not worth, and made citizens to actually have deductions of their money on payrolls. And, during that time they were passing these laws and they were talking about them. And we heard about bribery, and we were, praying that they would not pass these laws. It happened that they just had to pass them. But currently now, we can see they are making a lot of noise, and we are uncomfortable with their noise because we are like, why are you coming to complain? Even the president, why complain? Just go ahead and arrest. If it's Kimani Ichung'wah or whoever it is, arrest. Do not complain to us because that is not a solution. Okay? Now let's look at another aspect. Mbadi here, saying that the country is doing well. Can you imagine? While people are complaining, Mbadi comes out and says, Kenya is doing well. Let's hear this.
Has been facing challenges mostly as a result of debt payment and debt servicing costs. That's a fact. You have been informed that now we are consuming about 48% of our ordinary revenue is going into servicing our debts in terms of interest. That is not sustainable. And we have recognized that as a risk area. However, I want to tell you that the government has also done a lot to make sure that we reduce the debt risks that was facing this country, or has been facing this country. Early last year, that growth has narrowed the current account balance from 2.6% of GDP in 2022 to 1.3% now. That is halving the deficit, reducing the deficit by half. What has that done to us? If you want, or if you like, with a positive outlook. Why did they do that? They have cited first, improved current account balance, two, which is informed by exports and diaspora remittances, and three, they have said clearly and categorically that the government's decision early this year to liability manage the durable that was falling due in 20.
When I look at CS Mbadi, I have a lot of questions to raise on leadership. And also observing what I see around, then I'm like, are you serious about what you're sharing here? Because while citizens are complaining, for him, he's assuring Kenyans that we are safe, that everything is good, that we are doing well, that there is timely Eurobond payment, that there is... And I'm like, okay, we are doing well, right? Okay, Eurobond. The Eurobond, which is a Euro loan. What a letdown. What a letdown indeed. Credits all over the place. Hey. All right. I don't just understand the logic behind his reasoning. Because he is saying that we are relatively doing well. That we have driven up the export. We have increased exportation of coffee and horticulture products. He's also saying that the diaspora remittances have provided a crucial support. And he's saying that the Eurobond payment has been timely. And we have eliminated associated risks. All right. I don't know. I would wish to actually have you dropping the comment in the comment section. What do you think? Is Mbadi okay? Is he really okay? What reassurance is this? Because I'm yet to see the, the positives in our country. And he has just said this a day when we have a lot of wars going on, when we have so many allegations, negative allegations going on. I'm like, save me from this. Save me from this, because I don't want to hear more, I don't want to hear more. Because we are looking at US and how they are judging us. We are looking at how there are withdrawals of some things, including the, United Nations and all that. And I'm like, are we really doing well? Because when I look at what we had from Raphael Tuju has told us that we are going to be a failed state if we are not careful. If we are not careful, we are going to be a failed state. And of course, we have seen the SHA saga today on the highlights, what has happened. Recently, we heard about eCitizen. And we've also heard about this house development thing as a scam. And so many others. Because if the laws that Parliament was passing were done under the influence, then there is nothing right that was passed. Maybe it's a very 0.001%. But the rest... So, Mbadi is actually saying that currently, after all, we have no more sufurias on the heads and streets are quiet. So he believes that because streets are quiet and people are no longer putting on the sufurias on their heads, then everything is okay. All right? They always say, when somebody is full stomach, they do not know the complaints of the other people who are suffering. But the reality is, guys, we have 7 minutes left. But when you look at the heated discussions in the studios, especially between senators, and the fact that senators were being told to keep quiet and not question governors, when in reality a lot of money is being squandered, it becomes a question between me and you, maybe as a citizen or somebody out there watching this. What do you think should be the way forward? Should we keep complaining or should we have a solution? I believe we have a solution. Just in getting the right information, having knowledge and choosing now wisely. you know. When we decide to choose wisely, then we have maybe a solution out of this. But then when I look around, I just decide, let me listen to Trump a little bit and end this. All right?
He's in the middle of a lot of things, but Linda, you have been unbelievable. Thank you very much. Great job you've done. And I said hello to Chris Wright. Chris is the most talented person. Doug actually said that I offered Doug Department of Energy noise. He said, I have somebody better. He's never said that in his whole life about anybody, Mary. He's never said that about anybody, but he said Chris Wright is so incredible, and he has turned. He's the #1 guy in the oil industry, and he left for, I won't even tell you the money he was making. It was crazy money, but he knew that, and he wanted this, and he and Doug have done an incredible job, and thank you, Chris, very much. Doug Collins, where's Doug Collins? Doug Collins, what a great guy he's been. What a great guy. At the VA right now, you have a 92% approval rating. That's not bad. Let's see if we can get it up a little bit. Who are the 8%, right? But he's working on it. He is working on it. He's incredible. What a job. Thank you, Doug. What a great job you're doing. Appreciate it. Here, they're going to be here. They wouldn't be here. Well, I don't think we'd have a country. You want to know the truth? If we didn't win this election, I don't think we'd even have a country. But we've achieved more in 6 months than the most administrations have achieved during their 4 years or even 8 years. We've achieved more in 6 months than most administrations have achieved, whether it's 4 years or 8 years, which is pretty incredible. And when I was in Saudi Arabia, we took back $5.1 trillion. We went to Qatar, we went to Saudi Arabia, and UAE. Great leaders, all three, and great. They were great. And they invested, when I say took it back, I mean took it back in terms of an investment in the country, $5.1 trillion, with a T, trillion dollars. And the King of Saudi Arabia looked at me and says, you know what?
I was listening at that speech. Is about, it took about 2 hours, 34 minutes and 17 seconds, guys. So when you listen at Trump, he's actually profiling the great achievement they've done in the shortest time possible. And he was coming out with the specific details of investments that they have had to bring back. Now, I don't know if Kenya, we can actually come out with some mathematics and show the kind of achievement we've done in the shortest time. Are we able to do that and compare the notes and see in the shortest time what we've done? Or is it a lip service whereby we say we build markets, we build roads, and we've done houses, but those houses still, people cannot say they've owned it, you know? Where we say that we've hired a lot of teachers and the teachers are suffering. Some of them are very uncomfortable with that kind of career. They are really waiting to walk away, you know. But then somebody stands up and says, this is one of the government that has done the best. It has hired the most number of teachers. Do you know why most of the teachers have been hired? It's because the system has changed, and they came up with a system whereby now we have grade 1 up to grade 9. Why not hire more teachers when the system has added a grade 9 that has never been there? We have always been having class 1 up to class 8. Now we have a system that is grade 1 to grade 9. Then at the same time, from grade 6, grade 7, that is junior secondary. So it becomes a different system whereby automatically you have to hire teachers. Okay? Then when it comes to, let's say, senior secondary, it's going to be 6 grades again. From grade 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Even university again, their years were increased from 4 years. They are saying 5 years now for a Bachelor of Education or something like that. So why would somebody even say that they have hired more teachers when automatically the system itself demanded more teachers? It is as a result of a system. It's not as a result of a very good economy that this happened. Okay? So, These are matters that are very difficult to understand, but you've heard from Trump himself when he's talking about this and saying incredible.
1 year ago, America was dead. Your country was dead. He said, and now you have the hottest country anywhere in the world. That's a big statement. And that was 2 months ago. But he said, you went from a dead country, which is pretty hard to hear that. But it's true. I mean, think of it. We had a dead country. We had an embarrassment. All over the world, they were laughing at us like we were a bunch of fools. We had a dead country. Now we have the hottest country anywhere in the world. There's no country even close to being as hot. And those great representatives of Japan that a few of you, including the speaker, got to see in action, smart and sharp. And they said the same thing. They said, look, you have the hottest country in the world.
To help those to be recovered and rescued and restored. And Father, we pray in the days ahead, it's going to get real dark, but Father, we know that you're a light in the midst of darkness. Lord, thank you for the people of Texas, that they are so resilient. And God, we thank you that you are so faithful in the midst of the storm. Now, Father, tonight we thank you for every...
Through the roof, what are you going to do? I said, this isn't my problem. This was, Biden did this, not Trump. But they were screaming at me. I said, just give me a chance. I will say our Secretary of Agriculture, Brooke, did a great job. Brooke Lawler did a great job. She's here too. Thank you, Brooke.
All right, so let's end this there. Let's end this there. But guys, I was just imagining. I'm just imagining. What do we have to do? What have we to do? Ladies and gentlemen, type in the comment section because I'm really looking forward to reading your comments. Let's not just stop at chats. And I like that today you gave me 7 likes. I really appreciate for your love and presence on the platform. Thank you so much tonight and have a good night. And I really appreciate your participation here. It's overwhelming and very interesting at the same time. The initiatives that we want to put in place will follow possibly the rise of numbers on the platform. So once we get to 1,000 subscribers, guys, we are going to be a different channel, growing every day and doing very hilarious stuff. So thank you so much for your presence and support. Like what you're doing. Every day I'll have to work hard for this. Bye-bye for now, and good night for those who are at night, and good day for those who are starting their day, because I know people watch me from different countries, some of the countries whereby they're starting their day, and others where it's night and all that. So have a nice day. Have a nice night. Bye-bye. Teresa.